Hello guys, welcome to my channel. It's Muhammad here. This is a fitness myth, the idea that muscle can turn into fat. Imagine lifting weights, building those biceps, and then one day, poof, your muscle transforms into flab. Thankfully, this is just a myth. Your body doesn't work that way. Think about it like this: oil and water, they're different substances. You can't turn one into the other. Similarly, muscle and fat are distinct tissues. They're made up of different types of cells and have different functions. So, why do so many believe this myth? When you stop exercising, muscles shrink, and you might notice extra padding. But this doesn't mean muscles have morphed into fat. It's a shift in body composition. Myths often arise from a grain of truth, and this one is no different. You've probably heard people say things like, if you stop lifting weights, your muscles will turn into fat. These observations fuel the myth, making it seem real. Even in gyms, this myth persists. Trainers might jokingly warn, don't skip leg day or your quads will turn into jelly. The reality is our bodies adapt based on lifestyle choices. Regular exercise builds muscle mass, which helps burn calories. But when we stop, muscles shrink to conserve energy. Muscle and fat are like apples and oranges, completely different entities. Muscle helps us move, while fat provides insulation and energy reserves. The idea that one can transform into the other is simply not true. Imagine a brick house, muscle, and a wooden shed, fat. Dismantling the brick house won't turn bricks into wood. We'll delve deeper into the science behind muscle growth and fat storage. Let's zoom in on the microscopic level and take a closer look at muscle cells, those tiny engines that power our every move. These cells are packed with contractile proteins, primarily actin and myosin, which generate force and allow for muscle contraction. Picture them like tiny ropes that pull against each other, producing movement. Exercise creates tiny tears in muscle fibers, signaling your body to repair and rebuild them. This process, known as muscle protein synthesis, makes muscles stronger and more resilient. Now, let's turn our attention to fat cells. Those small spherical sacs are, unlike muscle cells, fat cells are designed for storage. Their primary function is to store excess energy from the food we eat in the form of triglycerides. Think of them as the pantry of your body, storing energy reserves for times when you need them. While often viewed negatively, fat cells play a crucial role in our survival. They provide insulation, protect our organs, and release hormones that regulate appetite and metabolism. In fact, having a healthy amount of body fat is essential for overall health and well-being. However, just like overstocking your pantry can lead to clutter, having an excess of fat cells can contribute to weight gain and health problems. It's important to understand that muscle and fat cells are fundamentally different. They have distinct origins, structures, and functions within the body. Muscle cells are derived from mesodermal tissue, while fat cells originate from mesenchymal stem cells. Their cellular makeup is also vastly different, with muscle cells containing contractile proteins and fat cells specializing in lipid storage. Imagine trying to build a house using apples for walls and oranges for the roof. It just wouldn't work. Similarly, muscle cells cannot transform into fat cells, and vice versa. They are distinct cell types with specialized roles in the body. This concept is crucial to debunking the myth of muscle turning into fat. Just as an apple cannot morph into an orange, a muscle cell cannot magically transform into a fat cell. They are separate entities with different properties and functions. The idea that muscle can turn into fat is a classic example of misunderstanding how our bodies adapt to changes in activity levels and energy balance. When you stop exercising, your muscles don't magically morph into fat. Instead, several physiological processes occur that contribute to the perceived transformation. Firstly, as mentioned earlier, muscle tissue atrophies or shrinks when it's no longer challenged. This is a natural response to conserve energy. When you're not using your muscles as much, your body decides it's more efficient to break down some of that muscle tissue to reduce energy expenditure. Secondly, if you continue to consume the same amount of food as you did when you were more active, you'll create a food surplus. This means you're taking in more energy than your body needs, and that excess energy has to go somewhere. Guess where it ends up? You got it stored as fat. Remember those impressive muscles you built through dedication and hard work? And you stopped exercising for a long time period. This process, known as muscle atrophy, occurs when muscle fibers decrease in size and strength due to inactivity or lack of use. Think of it like this: your body is incredibly efficient and always strives to conserve energy. Muscle tissue requires a significant amount of energy to maintain, even at rest. So when you stop challenging your muscles, your body senses it doesn't need as much muscle mass and starts breaking it down to conserve resources. This process doesn't happen overnight. It typically takes several weeks or even months of inactivity for noticeable muscle atrophy to occur. The rate and extent of muscle breaking down vary depending on factors like age, genetics, and previous activity level. However, the general principle remains the same. It doesn't happen overnight. Understanding body composition changes boils down to a simple equation: energy balance. Think of your body like a bank account. Food you eat represent deposits, while calories burned through physical activity and metabolic processes represent withdrawals. When you consume the same number of food as you burn, let's give it to the name of calorie balance, your weight remains relatively stable. Consume more food than you burn, let's give it to the name of food surplus, and you'll gain weight, primarily as fat. Burn more calories than you consume, let's give it to the name of calorie deficit or food deficit, and you'll lose weight, a combination of fat and some muscle mass. So, they are not converting each other. The real transformation shifting body composition. The key takeaway here is that muscle and fat are distinct tissues that cannot morph into each other. What you're witnessing when you stop exercising and potentially gain weight is not a magical transformation, but rather a shift in your body composition. By the way, this breaking down of muscle or muscle atrophy process is reversible. By incorporating regular exercise, your muscles can be strong as much as before. Fat cells on the treadmill. Do they sweat out the fat? Imagine fat cells as tiny balloons filled with triglycerides. When you exercise, you're not magically transforming these balloons into muscle fibers. Instead, you're essentially poking tiny holes in them, releasing the stored energy to fuel your workout. Exercise, particularly aerobic exercise like running, swimming, or cycling, increases your body's demand for energy. To meet this demand, your body taps into its energy reserves, primarily stored fat. As you exercise, your body breaks down triglycerides into fatty acids and glycerol, which are then released into the bloodstream to be used as fuel by your muscles. So, those fat cells aren't disappearing, they're shrinking as their energy stores are depleted. This is why consistent exercise is crucial for fat loss. The more you move your body, the more energy you burn, and the more those fat cells shrink. The fat cell shrinker, not the muscle maker. Now you might be wondering, if exercise shrinks fat cells, does that mean it creates muscle cells in their place? Not quite. Remember, muscle and fat cells are distinct entities with different functions. Exercise doesn't directly convert fat cells into muscle cells. What exercise does do is create the right environment for muscle growth. When you engage in strength training, you create microscopic tears in your muscle fibers. These micro tears signal your body to repair and rebuild the muscle tissue, making it stronger and more resilient. However, this muscle building process requires the right building blocks, primarily protein, which brings us to the crucial role of diet and body composition changes. Fueling the fire. How diet impacts fat loss and muscle gain. Imagine your body as a car. Exercise is like stepping on the gas pedal, while your diet is the fuel that powers the engine. You can rev the engine all you want, but without the right fuel you won't get very far. When it comes to fat loss, creating a protein-based and eating less is key. This means consuming fewer food than your body burns through daily activities and exercise. On the other hand, building muscle requires eating more with sufficient protein intake. Protein provides the amino acids necessary for muscle protein synthesis, the process of repairing and rebuilding muscle tissue after exercise. Let's tackle another persistent fitness myth: spot reduction. This is the idea that you can target fat loss in specific areas by exercising those areas. Want to lose belly fat? Do endless crunches? Hoping to slim down your thighs? Squats are the answer, right? Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Fat loss doesn't work that way. Think of it like draining a bathtub. Fat loss occurs throughout your body as you lose weight, without one spot. It's time to put these fitness myths to rest once and for all. Muscle cannot turn into fat, and spot reduction is a myth. These misconceptions stem from a misunderstanding of basic human physiology and how our bodies adapt to changes in activity levels, nutrition, and aging. By embracing the science of exercise and nutrition, we can make informed decisions about our health and fitness. Understanding that muscle and fat are distinct tissues with different functions empowers us to focus on strategies that promote a healthy body composition, such as regular exercise, a balanced diet, and adequate protein intake. Remember, knowledge is power. By dispelling myths and embracing evidence-based information, we can take control of our health and achieve our fitness goals through sustainable and healthy means. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of fitness information available, especially with so much conflicting advice circulating online and in gyms. However, by arming yourself with accurate information, you can navigate the world of fitness with confidence and clarity. Here are some key takeaways to remember as you embark on or continue your fitness journey. Muscle and fat are distinct tissues. They cannot magically transform into each other. Exercise and diet work in tandem. You need both for optimal body composition changes. Consistency is key. Sustainable results require ongoing effort and commitment. Don't be afraid to seek professional guidance. A certified trainer or registered dietitian can provide personalized advice tailored to your goals and needs. Remember, your fitness journey is unique to you. Embrace the process, celebrate your progress, and never stop learning about how to optimize your health and well-being. See you in the next video.